Hello everyone, welcome back to another mod update video for my mod Turing Complete. Not to be confused with the game Turing Complete or my series completing Turing Complete. I renamed it because this was getting too confusing. I am here with Joshua, again.
Hello there.
To show off what exactly has been changed. We are now at, last time we made an update video, we got to 1.3.0. And now the mod has been updated twice to 1.3.2. What I said in the last episode about future changes is not yet in effect. We have not yet looked at recipes. We have not yet made an extra block to work with the recipes. We just added some extra bug fixes, changes, couple of new blocks, stuff like that. So let's go over them now. That's in the recording now.
Hello.
All right, so to start off with, a lot of these updates, pretty much everything actually, has been done by an individual named Backup, and I will post their link in to their link tree. I will put that down in the description. They have helped out a ton with this mod, and thank you so much. And go check them out on their link tree.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
awesome that the community is helping so much.
Absolutely, this is fantastic. I love it. All right, so first off, originally this was a 2D item. Now it's a 3D one. It's like it's like a slab, I guess, but it's like smaller than a slab. So it's an actual 3D item, and as you can see, it actually sits in an item frame like that instead of being a 2D item. Like
that's cool.
I guess a hopper, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is a 2D item. So this was a 2D item, but now it's a 3D item, and it sits in an item frame like this. And you can spin it around. Yeah, so that is first up. Next, we have a texture change, and quite a large one too. This is done by Good Juju, who is another person who helped out with this mod, mostly with just the textures. Actually, yeah, no, only with the textures. But helped with figuring out what colors they should be, how they should look, and actually performing those changes. They changed block graphics and item graphics. So this is now the not gate, which is a purple pinkish color. And I realize now that I should be like showing off what they look like when powered and not powered. So this is the not gate. Then here we have the and, or NAND, and the 3 and.
Just put this one.
It's an and. It needs all.
Yeah.
It needs all. There we go. This hasn't changed. The and is still red. We left that one. Then we have the ors, which are blue now. So as you can see, that is what it looks like. This is a blue. This is an OR gate. No. Then we have the XOR gate and the XNOR gate. And as you can see, that is what it looks like as it turns on and off. And as you can see, it still functions. Then we also have changed the items to correspond to the colors. So there's a pinkish color for the NOT gate. The AND gates are still the same. The OR gates are blue. The XOR gates and XNOR are
I love the little
turquoise
in them.
Yeah, nice, right?
Little attention to detail.
Yeah, and we added a 3 for the 3 input gates in the top left, sorry, for the 3 and 3 OR, just so it's a bit more distinguishable, because this if you look, I'm going to zoom in on the video, but if you look, there is like 3 inputs on the item itself, like right down here in the bottom left corner. That has always been there. It was just not noticeable because of how small it is. So we added a 3 to make it more noticeable. Especially like when you're holding it in your hand. Like if you hold that.
You don't see that.
You can't see the triple wires. You see the 3. You can't see the triple wire though. So that's just a bit more clear. So yeah, that's what Good Juju has done. Moving on, this was the Redstone bridge. And the item has gotten a slight overhaul. It looks a bit better. Yeah, done by Backup again. It still works the same, except, we'll cover that later, it doesn't. Haha. Anyway.
What?
Anyway, next up, we have the omnidirectional redstone bridge. This thing allows you to transfer a redstone signal however you like through each other, like a redstone bridge, but also just from any direction. So here, as you can see, 15, this goes down to 14. Here, 15 goes down to 14. Here, 15 goes down to 14, and then this side again, 15 goes down to 14. This thing is instant. This is an instant component. It does not take a game tick to update if I tick freeze. As you can see, it instantly updates, like Redstone does. However, like Redstone, it has a signal strength. So as you can see, I can power that lamp because it is close enough. This one is also close enough, and these signals do travel independently through each other. As you can see, though, this now is 11 because it went from 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. So if I then try to power that one still works because it's still close enough. That one still works because it's still close enough, but this one doesn't because 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So to make it work, you would probably need to use a repeater. There we go, repeater. And then you can keep going with them, and then they work again. And the item, this is why the two-way redstone bridge was changed. The redstone bridge got the texture overhaul to match the omnidirectional item. Next up, we have an SR latch. Again, thank you, backup. Pretty much everything, almost everything here is done by backup, but not everything.
Insane work.
True. So we have an SR latch. An SR latch is a component that allows you to set and reset a signal. So the output is 0. If I set it, which you can see by these little extra boxes in the top left and top and bottom left of the component, that is the set side. Yes, latches can be flipped. So that is how you make sure you're still using the set side. So if I turn on the set side, then you set it, the output to on. Then if I try to set it again, it doesn't do anything because it's already set. It just remembers it. Then on the other side, we have the reset signal. If I turn on the reset signal, it turns off. And again, I can spam this and it doesn't do anything until I set it again. Again, you can flip it, and now this is the set side, and that is the reset side.
Cool.
That is the SR latch. This thing is insanely useful for some things. We'll cover that later. Oh, I did not cover the recipe for the omnidirectional bridge yet. I am insanely smart. All right, so the redstone bridge, the omnidirectional redstone bridge, is not a repeater, so it doesn't need a repeater. So I'm just going to grab what it does need, which is the logic base plate in the middle and 4 redstone around it. And that will give you 1 4-way redstone bridge. It's also not the omnidirectional. It is omnidirectional in the item ID, but whatever. That's a slight inconsistency. So that is the recipe for the 4-way redstone bridge. The SR latch is crafted a bit more complicated. You use NOR gates and redstone dust, and it looks like this, with the redstone dust forming an X and the NOR gates being in the top middle and bottom middle, and that gives you an SR latch. Now the reason that
we are still planning on the complete overhaul
absolutely
of the system. Yeah.
The reason that it is this recipe is because I have built an SR latch right here. This is an SR latch. This is how you would make it. So here, this is the output, and if I do this, nothing happens. And if you set it, it turns on, and doing this does nothing until you reset it. There we go. So this is the SR latch. So that is the recipe. Pretty simple.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the JK latch.
Also, did you explain what SR stands for?
I mean, no, but I've said set and reset enough times. I feel like it makes sense.
But
so yeah, this is a set reset latch.
Yeah.
Then we have the JK latch, which I'm not going to tell you why it's that. It's because the creators of this thing.
I can.
Sure, yeah, sure, say it.
Yeah.
So Joshua, why is it a JK latch?
Anyways, it's a JK latch because it's named after Jack Kilby, the Texas Instruments engineer that invented the integrated circuit in 1958. Also the same company that probably has made your calculator. Probably.
Anyway, the JK latch is essentially an SR latch, and also, yes, it does also flip. It is the same as the set reset latch, so you can set it and you can reset it. The only difference is that with the SR latch, both on is undefined, which in our mod we defined it as 0. It just is 0. Here, if you have both on, it toggles. It toggles the output. And here is maybe a better way of viewing it toggling. If I hit both of them at the same time, like this, it just turns on and off on each rising edge, which is probably a term that isn't very known, but rising edge just means going from 0, rising to 1. And then falling edge is falling back down to 0. So this is a falling edge, this is a rising edge. And on each rising edge, it changes state from 0 to 1 to 0 to 1 to 0 to 1, etc. So that is the JK latch. This one, I actually did myself. I made this one. I finally did something for this update.
Not completely community-driven just yet.
Completely based on the code that was made for the SR latch, though. So, like. Anyway, we're moving on. The JK latch is pretty simple. If I quickly grab an SR latch, because you need to use that to make the JK latch. You also need some other things. Great. If I quickly grab the JK latch, sorry, the SR latch, and grab some AND gates and some redstone dust, then here you can see the JK latch requires 2 AND gates, 2 redstone dust, and the SR latch, and that gives you a JK latch. The reason it is that recipe is somewhat based on the real-life circuit, just like the SR latch. However, in reality, a JK latch barely exists because it's kind of a stupid thing to have. What makes more sense is to use a JK flip-flop, which we haven't made flip-flops yet, so yeah, no, this thing barely exists, so we're just going off of what a JK flip-flop would be without the flip-flop part of it. Alright, finally, we have the toggle latch.
Creative, Tristan. Don't underestimate.
True. We have the toggle latch, and that does exactly as you would expect. It toggles.
And this one doesn't switch.
No, this one doesn't switch because it only has 1 input, 1 output, so there's no point in it switching. Which is why I put the little indicators at the bottom instead. Because that's where the input is.
Yes.
And again, a T-latch is just a JK latch where you've wired up both sides to the same input, like this. So the recipe reflects that. If I quickly make a JK, then here you go. The T-latch is just the JK latch with the redstone dust going around all of it. T-latch. Most of you probably heard of a T flip-flop, and a T flip-flop is close to this, but technically not really. Officially, a T flip-flop still requires a clock pulse, which applies for all flip-flops, which we have not added yet. Flip-flops require a clock pulse, meaning it doesn't do anything until a particular input would be given. Okay. So, for example, if I were to make this a T flip-flop, then I could have a clock signal here, and only when this is on does it do what the T latch would do on the rising edge.
So the flip-flops are the latches which require an extra input.
Which require a rising edge clock pulse, yes. Okay. So basically, it's a way to make the latches synchronous, meaning you don't get undefined behavior because like making sure everything in your computer is synchronized, therefore allowing you to not have to cry and figure out what on earth happened in the meantime for each clock pulse.
There we go, that was what I was looking for. Basically the latches with a switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, finally, some of you who know about latches may notice, wait a minute, we only have 3 latches here. There's a 4th one.
Where's the D latch?
The D latch, or data latch, as it is also called, is the 1-bit memory cell. And I put that in text underneath it because that's what it is. It's a data latch. And technically this is maybe even a data flip-flop. Kind of. Because you need to give it a side input, which I guess could be a clock pulse. But I just call it a latch anyway. So this would be the clock pulse, and then if it isn't clock pulsing, then it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't do anything until you get a clock pulse, and bam, there you go. So technically this is even a D flip-flop, but whatever.
It's both.
It's not my problem, is what it is.
Agreed, let's move on.
Alright, fantastic. Now we get into bug fixes and other additions. First up, Backup has made a Brazilian Portuguese translation for this mod.
Oh, sick.
Meaning that you can now use this mod on the Brazilian Portuguese language, which I don't know if I can actually find it in the languages. Oh yeah, so here, Portuguese, Brazil. So if you were to change that to there, then I can't read anything because I don't speak Portuguese. But it does translate the names of the components. So this would be a bloco de lógica and, it seems. Fantastic, we have translations.
Give him A for effort.
And it translates all of them. Oh my god, even the multi-directional. Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, everything is translated. Oh, except for the D latch thing that is not translated. So that still needs a fix. But anyway, everything else is translated, so that's quite nice. Again, thank you, Backup, because now the 2-way Redstone bridge is now what it is called. It used to be the Redstone bridge, so it's just been renamed.
Smart, yeah.
Just to make a bit more distinction between the 4-way and 2-way Redstone bridge.
Yeah.
Next up, most gates now use 2 game ticks to update to match Redstone repeaters and comparators. So, as you can see, yeah, so if I tick freeze, it used to be that it would take 1 game tick. So now it doesn't yet do, and then tick step. And then now it would have updated. But now to match repeaters and such, it takes 2 game ticks to update. So again, 2 game ticks and it turns off. And this applies to pretty much everything. There is there's only one thing that does not apply, that this does not apply to, because we haven't figured out yet how to make that work, which is the full adder and half adders carry out output. That one is apparently still instant. So we probably should fix that at some point, but we have not yet figured out how. So yeah, that was also something done by Backup, and that is probably because Redstone is just more stable if you give it a bit more time. So we figured, for stability's sake, we will sacrifice 1 game tick. Most things are still faster because, for example, super simple example, right? If I quickly just grab this. Bam, this is an AND gate. And let's say I'm going to give both of them an input / tick freeze. So I start it, and then it takes 2 ticks for the torches to update, and then takes another 2 ticks for the back torch to update, meaning this whole AND gate takes 4 ticks to update.
Yeah.
Versus my AND gate, which takes 2 ticks to update. So it's still faster, or at least as fast, in the case of like a NOT gate. All right, next up, multi-blocks now drop 1 item. I think in previous versions they did drop 1 item, like when you break it. So if I quickly do this, right, it drops 1 item, right? And I'm pretty sure it did that before, but now we did some code special thingies so that I can more easily add more multi-blocks that will also drop 1 item. Smart. Basically making life easier. So functionally, nothing has really changed with multi-blocks. It's just more handy behind the scenes. Thank you, backup. Again, most of these things is backup. Backup went ham. The two-way redstone bridge no longer has an instant side. The side input is no longer an instant repeater. So, as you can see, it doesn't instantly update. It takes 2 ticks. Just like the back input. 1, 2. There we go. So, yeah, this now works as a normal repeater would, but in 2 directions through it, like, through itself, I guess.
Cool.
Then, also, the logic base plate now actually drops when it's not supported. In older versions of the mod, it didn't need a block underneath itself. It could just float in the air. It wouldn't break. It wouldn't pop. Like it wouldn't break, nor would it pop off as an item. It would just stay there, as if it's like this, a block, which it shouldn't do. So now it does that. Thank you, backup. Yes, we are just going to say this every single time because it needs to be clear. Things what I didn't do and things that backup did. It needs to be clear. All right. Finally, for this version 1.3.1, the two-way redstone bridge now hard powers blocks, which means that if you give it a signal, the signal passes through a block like this. So it powers this block. It hard powers this block. So that means redstone dust next to it will be powered as a result, which you would also expect from like a repeater,
that's cool. Yeah.
like this. But now this also works. So that means that also if I do this side, then this block is hard powered, meaning these two get powered. And if I hit both sides, now all 3 of these are powered. So it now works a bit more similar to an actual repeater, just from 2 sides. Finally, we get to the smaller patch, which is 1.3.2, which is the current patch as of now, as of recording this video. This is a very small patch. This just changed 2 small bugs. The first one is that we accidentally managed to mess up the switch gate in a way that it would not flip. So we fixed it.
You couldn't switch the switch gate.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we brought that back. We fixed it. All good. Thank you, backup. Finally, this bug, which I do not know how long this was a thing in the game. It might be since version 1.3.1. It might be from earlier. I have no idea. All I know is that I noticed in 1.3.1 that if I placed an OR gate like this in front of a NOR gate or a NAND gate or an XNOR gate in front of this, in front of the little torch thing, when it is not activated, right? Now it's like, or sorry, now it's now the gate is activated but the torch is not. With the torch activated, if I placed an OR gate in front of it, it would very temporarily pulse for some reason. Even though it should not be getting an input from the back, it only gets input from the side. It still flashed for just a second upon placement. And as you can see, that's now been fixed.
That's interesting.
And I think the XNOR gate also did that. Or sorry, the XOR would also do that. And again, that has been fixed. So, yeah. That is all for now. As you can see, a lot of this update was done by backup, and the texture change was done by good Juju. Thank you two very much, obviously. But if you are a modder, if you like making textures, anything of the sorts, if you want to help out with this mod, even in just giving ideas, stuff like that.
Or just be part of the community.
Or just be a part of the community and just build stuff like that program counter that I built over there a while ago. Just share your builds and mess around with this mod. Make sure to join my Discord, because that is where most of the community stuff for this mod is happening. That's where I post small updates about this mod. That's where we share our builds. That's where we share our ideas about this mod. That's where we do most of the development for this mod. And figure out what should happen, what should we make, what should we add to this mod. That is where stuff happens. So if you want to be involved, if you want to try to help, if you want to work on the mod, if you want to add something to the mod, then make sure to join the Discord, link down below, and hopefully see you there. Thank you for watching. again,
Thank you for following.
from last video, I am still looking for ideas and suggestions for this mod as a whole, but also for the next update where I'm planning to overhaul recipes and make some sort of stone cutter. It was my original idea, where you just throw in the items and it gives you the gate that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly still how I'm going to do it, but that is the current idea, and I have no idea how I'm going to make the costs and stuff like that. So if you have a suggestion, feel free to leave it down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.